Your mind is racing about a mistake you made yesterday and a problem that might happen tomorrow. This cycle of regret and anxiety can feel inescapable, yet its solution was written down nearly 2,000 years ago. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius shared in his private journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is the heart of a profound way of thinking known as Stoicism. This video is a practical guide to specific mental frameworks that directly ease the weight of anxiety and regret. We will explore how shifting your perception, understanding what you truly control, and practicing thoughtful acceptance can reshape your response to life's challenges. You will walk away with a clear set of tools to reclaim your inner calm. How did ancient thinkers master a peaceful mind in the face of genuine difficulty? And what would it feel like to bring that same quiet strength into your own life today? The single most important distinction you can make is between what is yours and what is not. Your thoughts, your choices, your efforts, these are your domain. Everything else, from the weather to another person's reaction, belongs to the world outside of you. This is the core of the Stoic Dichotomy of Control, a framework that systematically eases the roots of worry and remorse. The philosopher Epictetus, who formalized this idea, began his manual for life with a simple, powerful directive: some things are within our power while others are not. Within our power are opinion, motivation, desire, and aversion. Whatever is not of our own doing is not within our power. When you grasp this, you stop fighting reality. Anxiety flourishes when you invest your energy in outcomes you cannot command. Regret takes hold when you dwell on events that were never yours to direct. Think about a job interview. You can control your preparation, your punctuality, the sincerity of your answers. These are your actions and they belong to you. The final decision, however, the hiring manager's personal perspective, or the simple fact that another candidate had more specific experience, these are not in your hands. To fret over the result is to exhaust yourself trying to command the wind. The Stoic approach is to pour all your focus into the part that is yours, your own preparation and conduct, and then to release the rest. This is not passive resignation. It is the active, disciplined choice to invest your limited energy only where it can actually make a difference. The peace that follows is not a mystery. It is a natural consequence of this realignment. Take a quiet moment and bring to mind 3 current concerns. It could be a difficult conversation you need to have, a financial matter, or a personal goal you hope to reach. Now hold each one up to this simple filter. For each worry, ask yourself, what part of this is truly within my control? Write down the answers. You will likely find that the core of your distress is tied to an external outcome you are trying to guarantee. The practice of consciously separating the two, your actions from the world's response, is the first step in reclaiming your mental space. This mental sorting is a skill, and like any skill, it grows stronger with consistent use. What if every event in your life, especially the difficult ones, was a gift? This is the spirit of Amor Fati, a Latin phrase meaning a love of one's fate. It is the next powerful step after understanding what you can control. It moves beyond simple acceptance to a profound embrace of reality, exactly as it unfolds. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, who built upon this Stoic foundation, captured it perfectly. He wrote, "My formula for greatness in a human being is Amor Fati." That one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity. This is not about pretending that hardship is pleasant. It is about recognizing that every experience, especially the challenging ones, are the very raw materials that shape your strength and character. They are not interruptions to your life's path. They are essential parts of the path itself. This mindset directly confronts and dissolves regret. When you look back on a past mistake or a painful event with the lens of Amor Fati, you stop seeing it as a failure and start seeing it as a necessary lesson. That misstep taught you caution. That experience of letting go revealed what you truly value. That period of struggle forged a resilience you did not know you possessed. Marcus Aurelius offered a similar guidance for this perspective. He advised himself to accept whatever nature brings and to accept it as if you had asked for it. Accept what comes to you, woven from the thread of a higher purpose. History provides a powerful example in the figure of Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism. His journey began with a personal transition, a shipwreck that changed the course of his life. Instead of being consumed by this turn of events, he used it as a new beginning. He found his way to Athens and began studying philosophy, eventually developing the principles we are discussing today. What the world saw as a catastrophe, he ultimately transformed into the source of his greatest contribution. His story illustrates that the value of an event is not in the event itself, but in the meaning we assign to it and the growth we choose to draw from it. Take a moment now to think of one specific regret you carry. It might be a relationship that changed, a career opportunity you missed, or a personal challenge. Now try to reframe it. Ask yourself, what did this experience teach me about myself? How did it steer me toward a different and perhaps better direction? In what ways did it make me wiser, kinder, or stronger? By actively searching for the gift hidden within that difficulty, you are not erasing the past. You are reclaiming its power, transforming a source of pain into a cornerstone of your present strength. This practice of loving your fate is how you build a life without room for regret. From the edge of the solar system, the Earth is a pale blue dot, a single speck of dust suspended in a sunbeam. Your entire life, with all its joys and heartaches, unfolds on that tiny point of light. This cosmic vantage is the essence of the Stoic view from above, a mental exercise that shrinks our anxieties down to their true size. Marcus Aurelius regularly practiced this shift in perspective to maintain his composure. He would remind himself to frequently contemplate the swiftness with which all things vanish, our bodies themselves, and the countless generations of famous men, how quickly they become part of the past. Look at the vast expanse of time behind you and the infinite space before you. In this grand scale, he asked, what is there left to value? Only this, your own reasoned choice. When you feel the grip of a present worry, this practice invites you to pull the camera of your mind far, far back. That urgent problem at work, the sharp word from a friend, the financial pressure you feel this month. See them not from within the storm, but from the quiet of the cosmos. From there, your concerns do not vanish, but they lose their overwhelming power. They become small, fleeting moments in a long and sprawling human story. You realize that the emperor on his throne 2,000 years ago felt a similar sting of insult, a similar pang of loss. Your current struggle is a universal human experience, not a unique and crushing burden. Here is a simple way to bring this into your life today. Find a quiet space and close your eyes. Bring to mind the specific worry that feels so heavy right now. Now, imagine yourself 1 year from today, looking back at this moment. How much will this problem truly matter then? Now pull the perspective even further. Picture a historian 100 years in the future, writing about our time. How would they describe your worry in a single, detached sentence? They might write, individuals in that era were often concerned with matters of status and security, navigating daily challenges that were significant to them in the moment. This is not meant to belittle your experience, but to contextualize it. Your feelings are real, but their intensity is often a trick of proximity. Take out a piece of paper and write down your single biggest worry at the top. Now, beneath it, write a brief description of that worry as that future historian would. Use calm, distant language. This act of translation creates a crucial space between you and the problem. It allows you to see the event without being completely consumed by it. The goal is not to become detached from life, but to engage with it from a place of profound calm, recognizing that you are part of something vast and enduring. The Stoics believed that to ease anxiety about the future, you should thoughtfully imagine things not going as planned. This deliberate practice, known as Premeditatio Malorum or the Premeditation of Challenges, is a powerful form of psychological preparation. It is not about expecting the worst to happen, but about gently draining potential setbacks of their power to surprise or unsettle you. The Roman philosopher Seneca advised his friend Lucilius to regularly reflect on life's inevitable difficulties in his mind. He wrote, "He robs present ills of their power who has perceived their coming beforehand. You must anticipate not just exile, but also periods of lack, physical discomfort, and even life's natural close. By foreseeing them, you soften their impact. When you mentally walk through a situation you fear, you are not inviting it. You are building a foundation of inner strength so that if or when life brings a test, you are not caught unprepared. Your calm remains steady because you have already moved through the event in the safe space of your own mind. This practice transforms the unfamiliar into something recognizable, taking away its ability to stir panic or future regret over a reaction clouded by worry. Consider a modern example. You have an important presentation at work and you feel uneasy about it not going well. Instead of trying to push that feeling away, you lean into it with clear intention. You sit quietly and vividly imagine specific ways things could feel difficult. Perhaps the equipment does not work as expected, your voice wavers on an important point, or someone asks a question you are not ready to answer. You do not stop at the problem, you then visualize your own thoughtful response. You see yourself pausing, taking a gentle breath, and addressing the technical issue with patience. You picture yourself acknowledging the small stumble in your speech and moving forward with grace. You hear yourself saying to your colleague, "That is an excellent question, I do not have the answer for right now. May I follow up with you after the meeting?" In this mental preparation, you are not practicing failure. You are practicing your character, your patience, your courage, your integrity when facing a test. You are showing yourself that you can meet difficulty with wisdom, and that understanding is what truly eases the anxiety. Take the next 2 minutes for a brief, focused exercise. Bring to mind a specific outcome you are concerned about in the coming days or weeks. It could be a challenging talk with someone close to you, the chance that a project may not meet hopes, or a personal letdown. Now close your eyes and allow the scene to unfold in your mind with as much sensory detail as you can. Notice the surroundings, hear the words spoken, feel the first ripple of unease. Then gently shift the story. Picture yourself moving through this moment with a quiet, steady presence. What does that version of you choose to do? What do they say? How do they breathe? This mental rehearsal is not a dark fantasy. It is a training ground for your inner self, where you build the unshakable confidence that comes from knowing you can meet whatever arises with resilience. The first key to Stoic calm is learning to press pause between an event and your reaction. This small space, often just a single breath, is where your true power lies. It is the practice of cognitive distancing, the ability to observe your initial emotional impressions without being swept away by them. Anxiety and regret are not born from events themselves, but from the fuel of our unexamined, automatic judgments about those events. The philosopher Epictetus offered a timeless formula for this inner work. He taught, people are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them. You receive a piece of difficult news, and the first wave of feeling washes over you. That feeling is the impression. The Stoic practice is to catch that wave before it pulls you under, to look at it and say, this is an impression of something difficult, but let me see if it is true. Imagine you have just received some thoughtful feedback on a project you worked hard to complete. The initial impression is a sharp sting of disappointment, a flush of defensiveness, a narrative that whispers, my effort was not enough. This is the automatic judgment. Without cognitive distancing, this impression becomes your reality, leading to a reaction you might later wish you could take back, a reply sent in haste, or a day lost to reflection. The person who has practiced stepping back does something different. They feel the sting, acknowledge its presence, and then create that crucial pause. In that space, they gently question the impression. Is this feedback a personal critique, or is it information that can help me improve? Does one person's perspective define my entire worth? Did I truly fall short, or did I simply encounter a step in the learning process? By examining the initial reaction, you separate the raw data, the words that were shared, from the story your mind instantly attached to it. You reclaim the authority to choose which story you will ultimately believe. This is not suppressing emotion. It is the profound act of meeting your feelings with understanding rather than being ruled by them. Your next challenging emotion, whether it is frustration in traffic or sadness over a disappointment, is your next opportunity to practice. When that feeling arises, try this simple but transformative step. Label it quietly to yourself. This is an impression of frustration. This is an impression of concern. By naming it as merely an impression, you instantly create a sliver of distance between you and the feeling. You are no longer the frustration itself. You are the one observing the frustration. This subtle shift is the foundation of emotional freedom, allowing you to respond to life from a place of choice, not from a place of impulse. What if the secret to happiness is not getting what you want, but wanting what you get? This is the heart of the Stoic art of contentment, a direct antidote to the twin troubles of anxiety and regret. We often believe that peace of mind lies just over the horizon, tied to a future promotion, a different relationship, or a change in circumstances. Yet this very belief that we will be happy once we acquire what we lack is the source of our inner restlessness. Regret, in turn, comes from a similar dissatisfaction, a rejection of the past we were given or the choices we made. The Stoic shift is to turn this entire dynamic on its head, to find deep and lasting satisfaction not in the endless pursuit of more, but in a full appreciation of the enough that already surrounds you. The Roman philosopher Seneca saw this restless yearning as a form of self-imposed exile from our own lives. He observed how foolish it is to always be making plans for life and postponing life itself. We are not setting our affairs in order, we are only delaying. The entire future lies in uncertainty. Live immediately. When you are constantly reaching for the next thing, you are, in a very real sense, postponing the act of living. You are telling yourself that your life will truly begin when certain conditions are met, a mindset that ensures you are never fully present in the life you are actually living right now. This does not mean abandoning ambition, but rather anchoring your sense of worth and peace in the present moment, independent of any external achievement. A powerful way to cultivate this is through a simple gratitude exercise seen through a Stoic lens. Look at the ordinary objects in your immediate space. The mug holding your warm drink, the roof sheltering you from the elements, the device allowing you to hear these words. The Stoics would remind us to appreciate not merely the possession of these things, but their functional use. You do not just own a mug, you have the capacity to drink and be refreshed. You do not just have a roof, you experience the comfort of safety and warmth. This shift from passive ownership to active appreciation transforms your relationship with the world. It moves you from a state of wanting to a state of having, from a sense of lack to a recognition of abundance. This very moment contains gifts you once would have longed for. Take a quiet pause and bring to mind 5 things you possess or have experienced that, at some point in your past, you would have sincerely hoped for. It could be as fundamental as a skill you have learned, a friendship you have built, or a personal challenge you have overcome. As you list them, feel the weight of that truth. What you now take for granted was once a future hope. By consciously connecting with this fact, you are not just counting blessings, you are actively practicing the art of wanting what you already have, closing the door on the mental noise of regret and anxiety, and stepping into the quiet richness of the present. The Stoics argued that your career, your wealth, and your reputation are ultimately irrelevant to your happiness. This radical idea cuts to the very root of why we experience so much anxiety and regret. We tie our inner peace to things that can be taken from us in an instant, leaving us perpetually vulnerable. The foundational tenet of this philosophy is that virtue alone is good and vice alone is bad. Everything else, all the possessions and positions we chase, are merely preferred or dispreferred indifference. They have no true power to make your life good or bad. Your character is the only thing that matters. Marcus Aurelius defined this good with beautiful clarity. He wrote, "The good is a certain kind of will." What kind? The will that is in accord with nature, with reason, and with virtue. Your good is not a prize you win from the world. It is a quality of your own choices, your own intentions, and your own actions, right here and right now. This recalibration of values systematically dismantles the foundations of worry and remorse. Anxiety about the future loses its grip when you realize that a financial downturn or a missed promotion cannot touch your core self, your capacity for courage and wisdom. Regret over the past softens when you see that the only true failure was a moment where you chose against your own integrity, not a moment where you failed to achieve a particular outcome. Picture 2 contrasting scenarios. One person loses a significant amount of money through a market shift beyond their control. They are consumed by anxiety, their peace shattered by the loss of an external. Another person reflects on a moment where they had a chance to stand up for someone but remained silent out of fear. They feel a pang of regret, not for a lost opportunity for gain, but for a lapse in their own courage and justice. The first person's distress is rooted in a misplacement of value. The second person's feeling, while uncomfortable, is a sign of a healthy moral compass, a signal to realign with virtue next time. This is the Stoic shift. Your peace is no longer hostage to the unpredictable tides of fortune. It is anchored in the one thing that is always and completely yours to command, your will to act with goodness. Think of a recent event you might label as a failure. Perhaps a project did not get the result you wanted, or a conversation did not go as you had hoped. Now, gently set aside the outcome for a moment. Look instead at your own actions in that situation. Ask yourself one simple question. Did I act with the best of my ability toward wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control? If the answer is yes, then you succeeded in the only way that truly counts. You reinforced your character. If the answer is no, then you have been given a priceless gift, a clear point for growth without the crushing weight of shame. This is how you build a life where your sense of worth is unshakable, because it was never placed outside of you to begin with. You are living your life right now, not in the remembered past or the imagined future. Every moment spent in anxiety or regret is a moment taken from the only place where you can truly live and act, the ever-fleeting present. Marcus Aurelius captured this truth with striking clarity. He wrote that we live only in the present, in this fleeting instant. All the rest of life is either past and gone or not yet revealed. This is not merely a poetic suggestion. It is a practical recognition of reality. The past is a memory, a story you tell yourself. The future is a projection, a story you imagine. Neither one holds tangible substance. Your power, your ability to choose, to breathe, to focus, exists only in the narrow slice of time you call now. When you dwell on a past mistake, you are wrestling with a memory. When you worry about a future problem, you are chasing an idea. Both actions draw your energy away from the one field where you can actually cultivate peace and purpose. The solution is to consciously and consistently return your attention to what is directly in front of you. This is a deeply thoughtful form of mindfulness, a deliberate anchoring in current reality. Consider the simple act of drinking a warm cup of tea. You can do it while scrolling through your phone, your mind 1,000 miles away, and barely taste it. Or you can bring your entire awareness to the experience. Feel the warmth of the cup in your hands. Notice the subtle aroma rising with the steam. Sense the flavor as you take the first sip, the temperature, the texture. For those few moments, there is no past regret or future anxiety. There is only the tea. This is not a trivial exercise. It is a fundamental training of your mind to inhabit your life as it happens, rather than in the abstract stories you tell about it. The same applies to walking. Instead of using a walk as a time to rehearse conversations or dwell on concerns, you can choose to feel the ground beneath your feet. You can notice the rhythm of your breath, the sensation of the air on your skin, the sounds around you. In doing so, you are practicing the art of being present, reclaiming your life from the mental constructs of past and future. To make this tangible, set a timer for 5 minutes. Find a comfortable place to sit quietly. For these 5 minutes, your only task is to keep your attention on your immediate sensory experience. Notice the feeling of your body in the chair. Listen to the ambient sounds in the room without labeling them good or bad. Observe the pattern of your breathing, the rise and fall of your chest. When your mind inevitably wanders to a memory or a plan, which it will, gently and without judgment, guide it back to a physical sensation, the feeling of your feet on the floor or your hands in your lap. This simple practice is a direct way to strengthen your ability to reside in your only true home, the present moment where your power and your peace are always waiting. The Stoics practiced seeing the world not as good or bad, but simply as it is. This discipline of objective judgment is about peeling back the layers of story we instantly wrap around every event. Your mind does not react to reality itself, but to the interpretation you place upon it. An unexpected rain shower is just water falling from the sky, a neutral fact. It only becomes a disruption when you label it as such because it changes your picnic plans. That label, not the rain itself, is the source of your frustration. Marcus Aurelius dedicated himself to this mental purification. He advised himself to constantly strip away the color of judgment, to see the thing itself. Do not let the force of the impression when it first hits you carry you away. Simply say to it, hold on a moment, let me see who you are and what you represent. Let me put you to the test. This is the practice of meeting life with a calm, questioning mind, rather than a reactive heart. When you label a career shift as a catastrophe, you summon a wave of anxiety. When you frame a past choice as a missed chance, you invite the ghost of regret. The event itself is just an event, a point in time. The emotional weight is a story you have chosen to tell about it. Consider the common experience of a traffic jam. The automatic narrative is one of frustration and delay. I am going to be late. This is changing my entire morning. This person is moving into another lane. Each of these thoughts adds a layer of distress to a simple, objective reality. There are cars stopped on a road. This is the bare fact. From this neutral vantage point, you can then choose a wiser response. You can accept the delay you cannot change, use the time to listen to something meaningful, or simply practice patience. The situation has not changed, but your relationship to it has been transformed because you changed the story. Your emotional difficulty was not in the traffic, but in your description of it. Take one specific thought that causes you concern today, perhaps about a meeting or a personal matter. Now, gently strip it of all its dramatic language. If your thought is, "This meeting could be a complete disaster," rephrase it to the bare facts. "I am preparing to speak with several people about a project." The outcome is uncertain. Notice how the emotional charge begins to dissipate when you remove the words disaster and complete. You are left with a simpler, more manageable reality. This is not about denying your feelings, but about understanding their true source. By practicing this objective lens, you reclaim the space between an event and your reaction, discovering a profound and enduring calm that comes from seeing things exactly as they are. Your mind has a doorway, and you are the guard who decides what thoughts get in. This is the essence of the Stoic Discipline of Assent, a powerful practice of mental gatekeeping. It is the final, crucial step between receiving an initial impression and being consumed by it. The philosopher Epictetus drew a clear line for this work, reminding us that impressions are not facts we must obey. He said, "Remember, it is not the person who insults you or strikes you who dishonors you, but your own judgment that such people are dishonoring you. Therefore, when someone irritates you, know that it is your own opinion which has irritated you. An impression is merely a suggestion from the world, a spark. You hold the power to either douse that spark with clear reasoning or to grant it assent, allowing it to ignite into the wildfire of anxiety or the slow, smoldering ember of regret. Imagine you are working on a difficult task and the thought appears, "I am not good enough for this." This is the impression knocking at your mind's door. Without the discipline of assent, you might automatically swing the door open, letting the thought march in and make itself at home. It would then furnish the space with memories of past challenges and project futures filled with more struggle, soon creating a whole story of inadequacy. The practice of assent interrupts this entire process. You hear the knock, but as the guard, you step forward and question the visitor. You ask, "Is this truly and completely a fact, or is it merely a feeling? Where is the evidence? Have I not overcome similar challenges before? Is this thought helpful, or is it just fear in disguise?" By consciously refusing to grant your automatic agreement, you prevent a fleeting mental event from solidifying into a belief that dictates your emotional state. This is not about suppressing thoughts, but about meeting them with mindful curiosity before choosing which ones deserve your belief and energy. For the next hour, try a simple experiment in being the gatekeeper of your own mind. Carry on with your normal activities, but make a quiet commitment to catch every automatic, negative thought that arises. When you notice one, like "This day is going terribly" or "That person is ignoring me," pause for just a single breath. In that space, gently question it. Is this absolutely true? Is there another, more generous or neutral way to see this situation? You are not trying to force a false positive thought, but to find the most objective and useful perspective. This hourly practice strengthens your inner guard, training you to live from a place of conscious choice rather than unconscious reaction, building a quiet mind that is truly your own. The anxiety you feel is not yours alone. It is a thread in the larger tapestry of human experience. This profound sense of connection is the heart of the Stoic principle of Sympatheia, the understanding that everything in the universe is woven together as a single, living whole. When you see your own life not as an isolated struggle, but as one small part of this vast, interconnected system, the weight of personal problems and regrets begins to lighten. Your challenges are not a unique curse, they are a shared human condition. Marcus Aurelius reflected on this unity with a sense of wonder, writing, "All things are intertwined with one another, a sacred bond." There is scarcely anything that is disconnected from the rest, for the world is a single living being with one substance and one soul. Your own being is a small expression of that one universal nature. This perspective is a powerful antidote to the loneliness that often accompanies hardship. When you face a personal setback, like a professional disappointment or the close of a meaningful chapter, it is easy to feel as if you are the only one who has ever stood in that particular shadow. Yet, in that very moment, countless other people across the globe are navigating a similar emotional landscape. The specific details differ, but the fundamental experience of transition, of adjustment, of starting anew, is a universal thread. Recognizing this does not diminish your personal experience, but it does place it within a larger, more compassionate context. You are not alone in your struggle. You are participating in a cycle of challenge and resilience that has defined the human story for millennia. To bring this from a beautiful idea into a felt experience, take a quiet moment with one current struggle. It might be a financial pressure, a concern for your well-being, or a relational difficulty. Now, shift your perspective slightly. Consider the millions of other people, both in this era and throughout history, who have faced a fundamentally similar challenge. Picture a parent in another country working long hours to provide, an individual from a century ago navigating a health concern with far fewer resources, or someone in ancient times mending a fractured friendship. See your own struggle not as a solitary burden, but as a single note in a vast, shared symphony of human endurance. This simple act of mental connection can dissolve the walls of isolation, replacing the noise of solitary worry with a quiet, humbling sense of belonging to something much greater than yourself. The Stoics did not see roadblocks, they saw stepping stones. This transformative perception lies at the heart of the principle that the obstacle itself is the way. Every challenge you face, every frustration that arises, is not a detour from your path but the very substance of it. These moments are the raw materials provided for you to practice virtue, to forge strength, and to demonstrate the character you have been cultivating all along. To feel regret over a past difficulty is to miss its purpose entirely, for it was in that very hardship that your capacity for patience or your understanding of resilience was given its most potent training ground. Marcus Aurelius captured this alchemy of adversity with powerful clarity. "The impediment to action advances action," he wrote. "What stands in the way becomes the way." He also reflected on how fire tests gold and how a strong individual is tested by a challenging experience. The gold does not curse the fire for being hot. It understands that the intense heat is the necessary process that reveals its purity and value. Your own challenges serve the same exact purpose. They are not punishments. They are the refining fire that reveals and strengthens your inner metal. History offers a profound example in the life of Boethius, a Roman senator and philosopher. He found himself in a period of great personal transition, removed from his position and facing a profound change in his circumstances. In that isolated space, instead of surrendering to despair, he turned his mind toward reflection and writing. He produced a timeless work, The Consolation of Philosophy, a dialogue that has comforted millions through their own difficult times. What the world intended as his end, he used as the raw material for his greatest contribution. His confinement was not the obstacle to his philosophical life. It became the very condition that made his deepest work possible. This is the core of turning your obstacle into your path. The difficult boss is not blocking your career peace. He is your daily drill for practicing patience and clear communication. The financial limitation is not preventing your happiness. It is your invitation to practice creativity and to distinguish between wants and true needs. The past mistake is not a permanent stain. It is the lesson that carved a deeper wisdom into your character, a lesson a life of ease could never have taught you. Bring to mind one current obstacle in your own life. It might be a demanding project, a strained relationship, or a personal limitation. Now pause and ask yourself this pivotal question. How can I use this specific situation as a training ground? If this is a test of courage, what would a single brave action look like today? If this is a test of wisdom, what deeper understanding can I seek from this experience? By actively searching for the virtue you can practice within the challenge, you stop fighting the obstacle and start walking the path that it uniquely reveals. Let us prepare our minds as if we had come to the very end of life. This is the heart of Memento Mori, a Latin phrase meaning remember you must die. Far from a dark fixation, this Stoic exercise is a profound tool for clarifying what is essential. It gently strips away the noise of daily irritations and pulls your focus to the breathtaking value of the time you have left. The Roman philosopher Seneca explored this idea with great depth in his letters. He observed that life is long if you know how to use it. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a great deal of it. The practice of remembering your own natural transition is not meant to frighten you, but to awaken you. It installs a quiet urgency that makes procrastination feel absurd and highlights the sheer insignificance of so many things we allow to steal our peace. When you genuinely hold the finitude of your time in awareness, a bitter comment from a colleague or a minor delay in your schedule loses its power to ruin your hour. These small troubles simply cannot survive in the light of such a vast and sobering perspective. Your attention is drawn instead to the quality of your character, the depth of your relationships, and the contribution you make with your brief, precious existence. A simple way to weave this into your own life is to begin each morning with a single, quiet acknowledgement. As you wake, take one moment to say to yourself, "This day could be my last." This is not a dark incantation. It is a lens that brings your true priorities into sharp, immediate focus. It asks you, if this were truly your final day, would you spend it anxiously refreshing your email, or would you choose to have that meaningful conversation you have been putting off? Would you hold onto a petty grudge, or would you offer a kind word? The answer to these questions reveals the gap between how you are living and how you wish to be living. Now take out a pen and a piece of paper. Write down your answer to this question. If I knew with certainty that today was my last, what 3 things would I do differently? Perhaps you would call an old friend to express your appreciation. Maybe you would finally forgive yourself for that old mistake. You might simply sit quietly in the park, fully present, and feel the sun on your face. Now look at your list and ask the second, more revealing question. Why am I not doing these things right now? The reasons that come to mind are the very illusions this practice seeks to dissolve, the imagined obstacles and deferred priorities that stand between you and a life lived without regret. Deep within you is a fortress that no outside force can ever breach. This is the Stoic metaphor of the inner citadel, your mind's unassailable sanctuary. Its walls are built from your principles, and its gatekeeper is your own reasoned choice. No event, no criticism, no sudden change of fortune can enter without the permission of your judgment. Marcus Aurelius often returned to this image of an inner stronghold, reminding himself that the soul becomes like a fortress when it withdraws into its own self-governing nature. Your anxiety and regret are not invaders that conquer you by force. They are visitors you voluntarily, often without thinking, welcome past the gates and give a seat at your table. Consider two people receiving the exact same piece of constructive feedback at work. The first person has left the gates of their inner citadel unguarded. The critical words march straight in, unchallenged, and immediately begin to reshape the space. They grow into a story of personal failure, stirring up waves of defensive worry about what is to come and second thoughts about earlier actions. The entire inner world is thrown into turmoil by an outside comment. The second person, who has fortified their mind, hears the same words, but at the gate they pause. They examine the feedback, asking, is this useful information? Is it true? They accept what is valid for improving their work and calmly, firmly, choose not to let the rest, the tone, the implied judgment, the fear, enter their inner space. Their peace remains intact because they understand that the words themselves have no power. The power resides solely in their decision to grant them importance. This is the core of your sovereignty. Your inner citadel is not a place you build from nothing. It is a strength you uncover through the daily practice of questioning your automatic judgments. It is the quiet space you create between an event and your reaction. Take a moment now to visualize your own inner citadel. See its sturdy walls, its quiet courtyards, the single gate that you alone control. Now ask yourself, which gate have I been leaving unguarded lately? Is it the gate of others' opinions, where every comment is allowed to wander in and make itself at home? Or is it the gate of future uncertainty, where imagined troubles are welcomed as certainties? Your simple awareness of that vulnerable point is the first, most powerful step toward posting a more diligent guard and reclaiming the profound peace that is always waiting within. What if you could build a kind of inner immunity to misfortune by occasionally choosing a little discomfort? This is the Stoic practice of voluntary discomfort, a powerful training for your inner self. It works like a psychological preparation, giving your mind a small, manageable taste of challenge to build lasting strength against the fear of future difficulties. The goal is not to punish yourself, but to show yourself through direct experience that you can handle far more than you might think. This practice gently loosens the grip of anxiety about what might happen, because you have already faced small versions of it by choice. It also softens the sting of lost comforts, because you learn that your well-being does not rely on everything being just right. The Roman teacher Musonius Rufus was a strong advocate of this mental training. He believed that comfort and ease do not build strength, while practice in navigating challenges does. He suggested that just as athletes must train to compete, we must practice the art of living well, and that includes becoming acquainted with manageable difficulty. By willingly stepping into a minor challenge, you are not seeking pain. You are seeking the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you can move through it. This confidence is the very heart of resilience. Think of it as taking your mind to the gym. You would not try to lift the heaviest weight on your first day. You start with what feels manageable. The same idea applies here. A simple, safe practice could be taking a short walk in brisk weather without an extra layer, just for a little while. It is not about risking your health, but about feeling the cool air and observing that you are perfectly fine. You are simply experiencing a sensation without the usual story of struggle you might add to it. Another example is choosing to skip a single meal, not as a dietary rule, but as an exercise in realizing that a missed meal is a minor interruption, not an emergency. You prove to yourself that your peace is not controlled by your stomach. In that moment, you reclaim a little piece of your freedom from external things. Your challenge for this week is to choose one small, voluntary discomfort. It could be taking a slightly cooler shower than usual for 1 minute, or turning off entertainment for an evening to sit in quiet reflection. As you do it, pay close attention. Notice the initial resistance in your mind, and then observe the moment you move through it. That moment where you meet the challenge and find you are still standing is where your inner strength grows. This small act is a direct deposit into your account of courage, a quiet reminder that you are more capable than your circumstances. The Stoics saw the universe not as chaotic, but as an intelligent, unfolding whole. This rational principle, this divine reason weaving through all of existence, is what they called the Logos. For those drawn to this perspective, it offers a profound form of trust, a cosmic reassurance that can quiet the restless heart. If the universe itself is guided by a wise and benevolent order, then every event, even the most difficult, holds a place and a purpose within its grand design. This belief directly confronts the roots of anxiety and regret. Anxiety is a fear that the future will go wrong, while regret is a belief that the past already did. Trust in the Logos gently dissolves both, suggesting that nothing in your journey is a meaningless error or a random stroke of misfortune. Marcus Aurelius consistently returned to this anchor in his private reflections. He wrote about accepting whatever comes to you, woven in the thread of a higher purpose. Whatever happens, he noted, happens with a reason. This was not a passive resignation for him, but an active trust in a wisdom far greater than his own. He was learning to see the universe not as a hostile force, but as a kind and guiding presence. Consider a personal challenge you have faced, perhaps a job you did not get or a relationship that changed its form. From a limited viewpoint, it looks only like a disappointment, a source of confusion. But through the lens of providence, you can begin to wonder if it was a necessary redirection. That closed door might have spared you from a path that would have stifled your true talents. That experience might have carved out a deeper capacity for compassion you now offer to others. The event itself remains the same, but the story you tell about it transforms from a difficulty into a mysterious, essential chapter in your unique growth. This is not about denying the ache of the moment, but about infusing it with a sense of meaning that makes it bearable, even purposeful. As a simple thought experiment, set aside your current beliefs for just a moment. Try on the idea that everything in your life, every single joy and every single challenge, has happened for a reason that ultimately serves your development. How does this shift the weight of a past disappointment you carry? How does it change the concern you feel about an uncertain future? You might find that the sharp edges of your worry begin to soften, not because the challenge has vanished, but because you are now held by a larger story, one where you are not alone, but are being guided, even when you cannot see the path. How much of your mental energy is spent on evaluating and commenting on other people? This constant inner dialogue about the actions and choices of others is a hidden source of anxiety and a quiet feeder of regret. Every moment you spend mentally adjusting someone else's behavior is a moment you have lost from tending to your own garden. Stoicism offers a clear and liberating alternative, advising that your focus should rest solely on your own virtue and your own reasoned choices. When you find yourself unsettled or agitated by another person, the disturbance is not in their action, but in your judgment of it. Epictetus provided the essential framework for this inner shift. He taught that it is not the person who speaks harshly or acts unkindly who disrupts your peace, but your own opinion which has decided that such actions are disruptive. The event itself is neutral. Your assessment of it as a personal slight is what creates the inner storm. This is why focusing on the perceived shortcomings of others is such a heavy burden to carry. You are voluntarily picking up the weight of their actions and making it your own concern. This habit fuels worry about what others might do next and solidifies regret over past exchanges, replaying conversations where you felt misunderstood. The path to release this burden is a simple but profound mental reframing. The next time you feel a surge of judgment toward someone, pause and make a conscious shift. Move your inner narrative from the thought, "he wronged me," to the more objective observation, "he believes he is right." This is not about excusing unskillful behavior. It is about removing the personal sting that gives that behavior power over your peace. You are recognizing that the other person is acting from their own set of beliefs, their own limited perspective, and their own inner challenges, just as you sometimes do. Their action is a reflection of their internal state, not a verdict on your worth. Your power lies not in changing them, but in choosing your response. Your task is to manage your own character, to ensure your own actions are just and kind, regardless of how others choose to act. For today, set yourself a gentle practice of awareness. Catch yourself in the very moment you form a judgment about someone else. It might be a thought about a driver on the road, a comment about a public figure, or a private observation about a family member's life choices. When you notice that judgment arising, do not fight it or follow it. Simply acknowledge its presence and then consciously let it go, like releasing a leaf into a stream. Bring your focus back to your own next action, your own breath, your own intention to act with integrity. This small, repeated act of mental redirection is how you lighten the load you were never meant to carry, reclaiming the energy you have been spending on others and investing it where it truly belongs, in the quiet cultivation of your own peaceful mind. In a world of constant noise, the most radical Stoic practice might be intentional silence. We are endlessly surrounded by the opinions of others, the demands of our schedules, and the relentless stream of information. This external clamor does not just distract us, it actively shapes our inner world, planting the seeds of anxiety about what we lack and regret over paths not taken. The Stoics understood that to reclaim your mind, you must periodically withdraw from the crowd. This is not about loneliness, but about creating a quiet space where you can finally hear your own thoughts. Seneca wrote beautifully about the necessity of this inner conversation. He advised, "You must withdraw into yourself as much as you can. Associate with people who are likely to improve you, and welcome those whom you yourself can improve." The process is mutual, but it begins with solitude. It is in these quiet moments that you can untangle your own reasoned judgments from the borrowed anxieties of the world. When you sit in stillness, the mental chatter that usually passes for your own thinking is revealed for what it often is, a collection of expectations, comparisons, and fears that you have absorbed without question. This practice allows you to see which worries are truly yours and which you can gently release. To begin, commit to just 5 minutes of pure silence today. Find a comfortable seat, set a timer, and simply breathe. Your only task is to observe the thoughts that arise without following them or fighting them. Notice which concerns for the future or reflections on the past bubble up when the external noise stops. Do not judge them, just watch them pass like clouds in the sky. This act of non-engagement is a form of mental decluttering. It creates a small but crucial gap between you and the swirling opinions, giving you the clarity to see that you are not your thoughts, you are the awareness behind them. Before the day ends, schedule a short appointment with yourself for a period of solitude. It could be a quiet walk without a device or a few minutes alone in a room. When you are there, take a mental note. What specific anxieties or reflections surface when you stop filling the silence? Simply naming them without resistance is the first step toward understanding their origin and ultimately toward dissolving their power over your peace. To the Stoic sage, winning the lottery and losing everything are, in a profound sense, the same. This is the ultimate expression of indifference to externals, a state where your inner peace remains completely untouchable by the shifting winds of circumstance. It is not that the sage cannot tell the difference between pleasure and pain, but that they refuse to label one as fundamentally good and the other as fundamentally bad. True good and evil reside only in the quality of your own choices, your virtue, and your character. Everything else is merely an external event to be met with wisdom. A quote often linked to the Stoic ideal captures this beautifully, suggesting that a wise person is the same in every condition, whether in times of plenty or times of need, in periods of health or periods of recovery. Their happiness flows from one unshakable source, their own virtuous will. This perspective systematically dismantles the emotional roller coaster of hope and fear. Hope is an anxious reach for a future good you do not control, and fear is a worried recoil from a future challenge you cannot guarantee. When you cease to see externals as either your salvation or your ruin, that entire exhausting cycle simply grinds to a halt. Consider our modern culture, which celebrates professional success with lavish awards and views financial setbacks as personal failures. We are trained from a young age to see these external markers as the very definition of a life well lived. The Stoic stands apart from this celebration, not as a killjoy, but as someone who understands that a promotion cannot make you a good person, just as a financial reversal cannot erase your capacity for courage. Your character is the only project that ultimately matters. Bring to mind your most deeply desired outcome. Perhaps it is a specific professional achievement, a certain level of financial freedom, or a particular relationship. Now bring to mind your most feared outcome, the one that stirs a deep sense of concern. It could be a significant personal transition, a public disappointment, or a health challenge. Now contemplate this simple, profound truth. In both of these extreme scenarios, your core self, your capacity for reasoned choice, your ability to act with justice and courage remains completely intact. The external event does not create or destroy your virtue. It only provides the arena in which you get to express it. This realization is the bedrock of a tranquility that cannot be shaken, because it is built on the one thing that is always and forever yours. Draw two circles in your mind. One is massive, containing everything you care about in the world. The other is small, nestled inside it, holding only what you truly command. Your peace depends entirely on knowing the difference between them. This is the visual anchor for the Stoic practice of differentiating your circle of concern from your circle of control. The vast outer circle contains all the things you give your attention to, from global events and the economy to other people's opinions and the outcomes of your efforts. The small inner circle holds only your own judgments, your choices, and your actions. Anxiety is the exhausting tax you pay for mentally living in that large outer circle, while regret is the heavy interest you owe on past emotional investments you made there. This idea is a direct extension of the core teaching from Epictetus, who reminded us that our own faculty of choice is the only thing that is truly ours. When you spend your energy fretting over things in the large circle, you are trying to control a storm by shouting at the clouds. You are investing your limited inner resources in a venture where you have no authority, and the emotional returns are always loss and exhaustion. Think about a common concern like the health of a loved one. You can place your genuine care for them in your circle of concern, but your circle of control holds only your own supportive actions, your words of kindness, and your choice to be present for them. You cannot control their health outcome, but you can control the quality of your presence and support. To worry about the outcome is to live in the large, exhausting circle. To focus on your compassionate action is to live in the small, powerful one. Take a quiet moment and mentally plot your current top 3 worries onto these 2 circles. For each concern, ask yourself, what part of this belongs to my actions and choices, and what part belongs to the world outside of me? You might worry about a project's success. The outcome belongs in the large circle. Your focused preparation and diligent work belong in the small one. For a deeper, more tangible practice, take out a piece of paper and actually draw these 2 circles. In the large outer circle, list the thoughts occupying your mind. Now, look at each item. Can any part of it be moved into the small inner circle because it involves a choice you can make or an action you can take? If you are concerned about a strained relationship, you cannot control the other person's feelings, but you can write a thoughtful message or suggest a conversation. Move that specific action into your circle of control. This physical act of sorting is not just an exercise. It is a ritual of reclaiming your mental energy, a clear-eyed map that shows you exactly where to build your focus and where to gracefully let go. Your tranquil mind is not found, it is built one thought and one action at a time. This is the heart of the Stoic project, a lifelong commitment to forging your character through the steady rhythm of daily habit. We are not born with unshakable peace any more than we are born with the ability to play an instrument. It is a skill patiently developed through repetition and practice. Aristotle, whose work deeply influenced the Stoics, captured this perfectly when he wrote that excellence is not an act but a habit. We are what we repeatedly do. Every time you pause before reacting, every time you question a fearful impression, every time you consciously focus on what is yours to control, you are laying another brick in the foundation of your inner citadel. This understanding is a powerful antidote to the regret of not starting sooner. Looking back and wishing you had begun this practice years ago is a natural feeling, but the Stoic would gently reframe it. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, the saying goes. The second best time is now. Your past self did not have the awareness you have in this moment. That awareness itself is the starting point, and it is always available. One of the most effective habits for cultivating this awareness is the practice of Stoic journaling. This is not merely writing down your day, but reviewing it through the lens of the principles we have explored. Each evening, you can take a few quiet moments to reflect. You might ask yourself questions like, where today did I confuse what is within my control with what is not? Did I meet a difficulty with resistance, or did I look for the path it was revealing? Was there a moment my peace was disturbed, and what unexamined judgment was the true cause? This daily audit is not about self-criticism. It is a gentle, honest conversation with yourself, a way to measure your progress and solidify your learning. It turns abstract philosophy into lived experience. Your challenge is to choose one tiny Stoic practice and commit to it for the next 7 days. It could be a simple morning mantra, such as whispering to yourself, "Today I will focus only on what is mine." It could be the 5-minute evening journaling we just discussed, or it might be the conscious practice of pausing for one breath before responding to any message that stirs a reaction. The scale does not matter, the consistency does. For 1 week, let this small act be your daily ritual, your personal training ground for the resilient and peaceful character you are actively building. Anger is a brief insanity. With those stark words, the philosopher Seneca captures the Stoic view of this consuming emotion. He saw it not as a justified reaction, but as a destructive fever of the mind, a primary source of inner chaos and a sure path to future remorse. Holding onto anger and resentment, the Stoics argued, is a self-defeating act. It is like drinking a poison yourself while hoping it will harm someone else. You are the one who carries the internal turmoil, the sleepless nights, the anxious churn, while the object of your anger may remain entirely unaware. This emotional poison clouds your judgment in the present moment and leaves a trail of regret for words spoken or actions taken in that temporary state of agitation. Seneca devoted an entire work to this subject, urging us to see anger as the worst of all emotions because, while others have a certain peace and stillness, anger is nothing but a violent excitement. It is a forgetting of all that is decent, a complete rejection of reason. The Stoic response to a perceived insult or provocation is not a bottled-up feeling, but a thoughtful process. The first and most crucial step is to press pause. When you feel that hot surge, do not grant it immediate assent. Create a space, even if it is just for one deep breath. In that space, you move from being the emotion to being the observer of the emotion. Then begin a calm assessment. Ask yourself practical questions. Was this remark intended to cause harm, or could it be a simple misunderstanding? Is this person acting from their own confusion, their own pain, their own flawed perspective? Often, you will find that what felt like a personal attack was merely someone else's thoughtless action, a reflection of their internal state rather than a commentary on your worth. This shift in perspective is not about excusing poor behavior. It is about reclaiming your own peace by refusing to let another person's actions dictate your inner world. Bring to mind one person you feel a current frustration toward. It does not have to be a major conflict. Even a small, lingering irritation will serve as powerful material for this practice. Now try to see the situation through their eyes from their limited viewpoint. What pressures might they have been under? What fears or misunderstandings could have shaped their actions? Perhaps they were acting from a place of their own deep insecurity, or simply repeating a pattern they learned long ago. This exercise in understanding does not mean you approve of what they did. Its purpose is to dissolve the personal sting, to see their action as a human mistake rather than a targeted assault. By stripping the event of its narrative of ill intent, you drain the poison of resentment and free yourself from its heavy, anxious grip. The Stoics practiced thankfulness not because life was perfect, but because it was a rational response to the gifts of existence. This was not about positive thinking. It was a clear-eyed acknowledgement of the interconnected web of cause and effect that supports your life at every moment. Seen through the lens of providence, every breath you take is a collaborative effort of the natural world. Every piece of knowledge you possess is an inheritance from generations past, and every comfort you enjoy is the result of countless other people's labor. Gratitude in this light becomes a simple act of seeing reality as it truly is, a continuous stream of provisions from a universe that is not hostile to you. It is the direct antidote to the restless desire for more and the gnawing dissatisfaction with what you have, the very roots of your anxiety and regret. Marcus Aurelius began his own days with this conscious practice of appreciation. In his private writings, he listed the people and qualities he was grateful for, from the gods and his grandfather to the fact that he did not waste his time on pointless pursuits. He expressed thanks for the guidance of his brother, the character of his mother, and the kindness of the gods in providing him with the teachers he needed. This was not a casual list. It was a disciplined rehearsal of his interconnectedness, a way to ground himself in the reality of his dependence on a vast network of support, both human and cosmic. You can bring this powerful perspective into your own life with a simple nightly ritual. Before you sleep, take just a few quiet moments to identify 3 specific things you are grateful for from your day. But do not stop at the item itself. Follow the Stoic practice by contemplating its functional use and its temporary nature. You are not merely grateful for your warm bed. You are grateful for the capacity to experience rest and comfort, and you acknowledge that this comfort is a fleeting gift, not a permanent possession. You are not just thankful for a friend's kind word. You are thankful for the opportunity to experience human connection, recognizing the fragile and precious nature of that bond. This shifts gratitude from passive recognition to an active, deeply felt participation in the flow of life. For your reflective practice tonight, take this one step further. After listing your 3 points of gratitude, bring to mind one current difficulty. Now perform the ultimate Stoic reframe. Search for a single reason to be grateful for this very challenge. Thank the difficult project for teaching you patience. Thank the strained conversation for revealing a boundary you needed to set. Thank the period of uncertainty for forcing you to develop a courage you did not know you had. By finding the gift hidden within the obstacle, you are not pretending it is pleasant. You are fulfilling your rational duty to see the universe as a wise and purposeful teacher, and in doing so, you dissolve the power of regret and anxiety to cloud your peaceful mind. After all these practices, what is the point? It is to achieve the supreme good, a life of virtue through reason. The Stoics called this ultimate goal the Summum Bonum, the final end of a rational human life. This is not just one more technique. It is the destination toward which every principle we have explored naturally leads. It is the state of being where anxiety and regret cannot find a foothold, because you are living in full alignment with reality itself. Your inner world is no longer at war with the outer world. You have become a conscious, willing part of the natural flow of existence. The founder of Stoicism, Zeno of Citium, defined this chief good with elegant simplicity. He said it was to live in agreement with nature, which means to live according to virtue. For the Stoic, reason is our human nature. To live rationally is to use our highest faculty to perceive the world clearly, to choose our actions wisely, and to accept everything we cannot change with serene understanding. This alignment is the only reliable source of true fulfillment, because it is the only thing that is completely and irrevocably your own. No external event, no turn of fortune, can strip you of your capacity to choose virtue. Imagine a person living this way. They move through their days with a quiet, steady purpose. When a challenge arises, they do not panic. They see it as a chance to practice patience or courage. When they experience a personal transition, they feel the natural sorrow, but it does not spiral into lasting despair. They understand the nature of letting go. When they succeed, they enjoy the moment without clinging to it, knowing it is a temporary gift. Their calm is not a lack of feeling, but a profound depth of understanding. They are free from the exhausting tyranny of their own unchecked emotions because their inner compass is fixed on the true north of virtue. They are, in a word, unshakable. Now take a quiet moment to define this for yourself. In your own words, what would a rational life look like for you starting tomorrow? Would it mean pausing to question your first emotional impression when a worry appears? Would it involve focusing your energy only on your own actions in a difficult relationship, rather than trying to control the other person? Would it be the simple, daily choice to meet each event, whether pleasant or difficult, not as a problem, but as the very material you are meant to work with? Your answer is the blueprint for your own peaceful mind, a life where your reason, not your fears or your past, is finally in charge. This quiet strength you have been cultivating is not a single discovery, but a daily practice of returning your mind home. The Stoic way of thinking is a proactive discipline of mental management, a continuous realignment of your focus from the chaos you cannot command to the calm you can. To dissolve anxiety, you learn to pull your attention into the small circle of your own control, to anchor yourself firmly in the reality of the present moment, and to thoughtfully prepare for challenges, thereby draining them of their power to surprise. To release regret, you practiced loving your fate, seeing every past event as a necessary teacher. You stripped away the dramatic stories to see events with objective clarity. and you anchored your entire sense of worth in the only thing that is truly good, your own virtuous character. The ultimate freedom, as Epictetus so perfectly defined it, is the right to live as we wish, and this right is secured not by rearranging the world to our liking, but by the profound inner shift of aligning our wishes with events as they actually occur. This is a path you walk for a lifetime, not a destination you arrive at once. Every single moment, whether it brings a minor irritation or a significant transition, is a brand new opportunity to practice, to choose reason over reaction, and to build a little more of that unshakable inner citadel. We would love to hear from you in the comments below. Which one of these Stoic principles resonated most deeply with your own life, and what is one small step you will take to practice it today? Your journey contributes to a community of quiet strength, reminding us all that a peaceful mind is not a distant hope, but a present possibility, built one thoughtful choice at a time.